The second half of this is politics, and we know from great examples like Golden Terrence, Ballad of Sword and Wine, Peerless, Stars of Chaos, if it has politics in it, I get confused and I don't understand what's going on, and I try my best to explain it, but we all know I mess up a good portion of the time. Also, the first two books of this story had politics in it, and I did my best to try to describe them, but also did a terrible job at it. So it's probably not going to be any better. So one of the main political thing that is happening in the story is typically the main character helping push a reform that the emperor, who was the third prince, is trying to get passed, which is, and I'm not really sure what it is. It's typically a reform to help get land and resources for the lower ranking people and the refuges, those who have no sustainability, to have sustainability. I'm pretty sure that's what the reform is. It's something like this. But everybody keeps saying no to it. The only people that really backing him up on this is his teacher and a few other people, but those people, again, aren't really standing up with him to pass this reform, because even though his teacher is a very established man, he himself has not figured out how to get this reform passed. Because, again, every turn around, someone is blocking the main character from having this reform passed, even though the main character knows this reform needs to be passed. The main character's own territories and lands are being affected by this. Not specifically really affected, but he sees the people around his land and around his territory being affected and harmed because there's not a reform being there to protect them. And because he sees what needs to be done, he knows it needs to be done, but because these people are staying in their own little heady holes, holding on to their resources and money and don't want to let go of their resources and money, and not seeing what the people actually need, are refusing because they have to give up what they have to provide to those who don't. It is a whole mess. And the main character is getting repeatedly frustrated and upset that these people keep blocking him at every direction. Also, it took a bit for the main character. Like, he had the backing of his general friend and the male lead to get into a battle, to fight this battle to get certain lands back. Because, again, the same people who are fighting him on the reform was fighting him on this battle to be done and needed to be done. And he literally had to sit there and bicker with people several times to get this done. His teacher sooner or later backed him up, and sooner or later they got permission of the emperor. But people kept blocking him in every direction. And he kept getting frustrated over this. Because, again, every time he's trying to do something good for their country, people are turning around and trying to stop him from doing the good for his country. And he's getting very pissed. He's like, I'm the reason why this country even has money. Like, I'm providing this country with money over and over again. You guys should at least listen to me. Like, this dude is not getting any respect when he's trying to do something. The main person the main character keeps butting heads in is the person who has the position the main character was originally supposed to have, or the position the main character thought he was having, which was the bookkeeper book comrades of the emotional chambers. The main character thought he was going to have that position, except someone else has it. And it's why his friends kept telling him, hey, hurry up, come back, because someone might steal your position. He didn't realize someone would, because he thought his teacher would keep that position for him, except it wasn't kept for him. And now he's stuck butting heads with this person who has connections and ties with other high-ranking people, and his family is also in those high-ranking people. So the main character is butting heads with someone who has a lot of backing. And it's very frustrating with him, especially when those people are old coots who are trying to devour him and his teacher. So battle that happens before the main character returns back to the capital that involved him, the male lead, and the general friend. The main character snuck to another location, stole the money in this location, and then took off with it and kept it hidden until he went to the capital to go get his position, and then he gifted the emperor the money. He's like, oh, here's the money, and the emperor's like, oh, where did you get it? Did you sell your entire land to have this money? And the main character's like, you just don't know. And I'm like, you little sneaky fox. Like, that's what he keeps getting called by everybody around them once they realize what kind of person they are. They're like, you're like a little baby fox. Your teacher's an old fox and you're a baby fox, because he is literally a baby fox. He stole a bunch of money and then handed it over to the emperor so he can hold a high position for himself as an official. Like, dude, He's sneaky little fox. Him and the main character in Ballad of Sword and Wine would totally get along with each other because they're both foxes. There are people who want to go rescue the former emperor and the twice former emperor from the hands of the people who have them hostage, which is going to affect the position as of the current emperor, because if these people return, obviously the former emperor will want to be emperor once more, even though honestly he does not deserve to be emperor because of his actions during the war that led to everything. But sadly, people will try putting him back on the throne, and people will force the current emperor to take off the throne, and if he refuses to, there will be an unrest and unjust that's going to happen. And I'm a little worried when this is going to happen, because civil war. So they don't even have to worry about the former emperor returning to take the throne from the current emperor to cause a civil war and unjust positions. No. This is already happening, a civil war. There are already people leading rebellions because, again, there are people starving because a drought has happened, the war has happened, people are literally starving, they're rebelling, they're leading a civil war, and the Melite has to go handle that. He's the one who has to go and handle their own people and maybe kill their own people, which is super horrifying. The main character is not happy about having to send his husband to go do this, because again, this will lead to a lot of hatred towards his husband, because again, his husband is going to get his hands dirty of their own people after his husband just got praised and adored for getting back the land of their people. Like, this is an unfair position that the main character in Melite has been put into. And again, if a reform gets passed, the people would settle. But no, the people aren't getting the reform, so they're unsettled, unhappy, and leading to fighting. And some people are accusing the Melite of being a terrible, vile person, even though he was sent against his and the main character's wishes to go handle this. And yet they're using this to target him and hate him and try to drag him to be, questioned. I am not kidding. During the whole fight over the reforms, they're trying to put hatred towards the main lead, and the main character has to try to protect his husband during this political fight. Before the male lead goes to deal with the rebelliers, the main character and Melly tried to take a few days off, a rest period. They went back to their territory. They wanted a few days by themselves after everything that has happened. But no, they get dragged back to the palace, back to the capital, because people put accusations on the Melite's head and the Melite's military forces' head. And they put accusations against the main character. And so the main character is getting yelled at by the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is doing his best to protect the main character and Melite, because, again, he thinks these accusations are ridiculous, but he also yells at the main character. And the main character and him gets into their little squabble thing that they usually do. Back in book 1 and 2, they would get into these little physical squabbles and verbal squabbles, and they get to laugh at each other for a period of time. But yes, it is a mess and a half. And I am frustrated and upset with both of them during the second half of the story, because they're trying their best to protect their countries and keep a safe hold for their country, and their country just keeps eating their faces for it. Which, when the main character explains this to the Melite is obviously upset over this. And the main character has to use his teacher as an example, because his teacher constantly, repeatedly throughout his career, kept getting diminished, stripped of his position, sent away, and then brought back and given a higher position, but constantly ridiculed and hated and accused of stuff that his teacher didn't do. Like, it's a mess and a half to be in a official position, and I'm upset for both of them. The Emperor tries convincing the main character to marry a woman whose family is a high position ranking politician, and the main character's like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I might have this dude's backing, but I'm not going to do this. I am in love with the male lead. I'm going to stay with the male lead. And the Emperor also tries convincing them to let the male lead marry someone else. Like, they still can be together, but they will be married to someone else. And the main character's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. No, thank you.